Tool's first ever Destination Festival Live in the Sand took place over the weekend in Punta Cana with a pretty stacked lineup. Tool played on 2 out of the 3 nights alongside Primus, Mastodon, Coheed and Cambria, Eagles of Death Metal, Humphreys McGee, and more. And besides fans getting pissed at Tool for not playing 2 unique sets as promised, they did change up the set a bit between the 2 nights, but there certainly were a handful of repeats. And there's also footage of fans booing Tool and yelling "fuck you" as the band took the stage on the final night. And one fan even hung up a sign on the window from their room that said "fuck Maynard James Keenan." So some fans were definitely not too happy about that. But one of the most notable things that happened at the event, if not the most notable, is that Mastodon played their first show without Brent Hinds. As it was announced on Friday, as you've no doubt heard by now, Brent is no longer a part of the band, although they say it was mutual. If you somehow missed that news, I did a video on it when it broke. I'll put a link to it down below. But at that time, it was unclear exactly what the band would be doing moving forward. Would they continue on as a 3-piece, because they do have that luxury that everyone in the band sings? Would they find a replacement, etc.? And finding a replacement seems to be the route that they have decided to go, because YouTuber Ben Eller, good old Uncle Ben, sat in with the band in place of Brent Hinds. I'll put a link to his channel below if you're somehow unfamiliar with him. And this was the band's first show of the year. They last played in December of 2024, and according to Setlist FM, of the 17 songs that they played at the Tool event, there were a handful of songs that the band has not played live in a number of years. Ember City for the first time since 2019, Tread Lightly first time since 2016, Ghost of Corellia, which they haven't played since 19, The Motherlode they haven't played since 2020, and All the Heavy Lifting for the first time in 10 years. The last time was in 2015. Quite a set list at the Tool Live in the Sand event. Obviously, Brent Hinds being out of Mastodon is a huge deal, but as so many of you pointed out in the comments of my video when the news broke, Brent has been very, very vocal over the years about not wanting to tour, not even being a fan of metal, all sorts of stuff over the years. So while it was certainly still surprising news, I mean, you know, one could argue that there were definitely some signs along the way pointing to the fact that this could happen at some point, and indeed it did. But as far as Ben Eller is concerned, I mean, obviously the dude is a phenomenal guitarist, and he's actually done quite a few Mastodon videos on his channel in the past. He even had Bill Kelleher on for a lesson on how to play the song Fallen Torches off of Medium Rarities. So obviously Ben was already a fan of the band going back years, although maybe still a bit surprising. I asked people in my last video to comment who they thought could be Brent's replacement if that's the route that they went. There were a lot of interesting ideas that were suggested. Brandon Ellis, who just recently left the Black Dahlia Murder, Richie Kotzen, all sorts of stuff, but still very cool to see Ben in that role, although it is unclear if this is just a one-time thing. The band has a tour coming up in May and June with Coheed and Cambria, so we'll have to wait and see if Ben is there for that. It's also unclear if he does remain with Mastodon. Will he be just a touring musician, you know, a hired gun type of thing? Will he eventually become a full-fledged member? I mean, who knows? Up until last week, though, Mastodon has had the same lineup for a quarter century, so probably not the easiest thing to become an actual member of Mastodon. We still have no statement from Ben. We haven't heard anything from the band beyond the initial announcement that Brent is out on Friday. And for that matter, we still have yet to hear from Brent Hinds himself. But hopefully we will see Ben Eller on the tour with Coheed and Cambria. But if not, Ben is a part of a few other bands. He has an 80s hair metal tribute called Skank Banger, which is just such a fucking great name. He does a lot of stuff with Andy Wood. He's done a lot of work with Whitechapel, all sorts of stuff. And again, his YouTube channel is linked down below. But that is all that I got for you for right now. Thanks so much for hanging out. Congrats to Ben on the new gig in Mastodon, whether it's temporary or a permanent thing. Feel free to drop a like and subscribe below if you feel like it, and I'll see you next time.